everybody, welcome back to my channel, and if you are new, welcome. My name is Meg, and today I'm going to be playing with the Morphe and James palette to create this fun green purple look. So if you'd like to learn how to do it, that's what we're doing today. I have been wanting to really dig into this palette and play with it as much as possible before I get my review up. So if you would like to see my other videos, I will have the playlist listed down below. I do a concealer base versus eye primer video. I do a cool tone. I have a cool tone tutorial coming up. I did this one today, and I'm sure there'll be plenty more coming, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future videos. But today I just really want to play and show you guys what the palette actually looks like, how to best apply colors, because working with brighter colors, it is a little bit tricky, and I know some people have been complaining about this palette, saying that it's really difficult to work with. So hopefully this video can help show you how to remedy maybe some of the problems that you are having with the palette. But yes, I will have an overall review on this coming up shortly, if I recommend it or not. So again, stay tuned. But yeah, let's go ahead and get this tutorial started. I am already primed, so I just took some concealer to clean up my brows and try to blend it down. And then I used the Morphe eyelid primer, and I did not set it. Today, for this third look, I really want to play with green and yellow, maybe some purple and blue. So I just have a vision of like a very heavy blown out green smoky eye. Picking up the light green, which is Social Blade, and I'm just going to pack this onto my lid. With these brighter colors, you can't just go in and swirl. You'll probably get a mess. That's just typical for most bright colors. So I'm really packing this heavily onto my brush, and I want to keep more of a rounded shape, as in I want it to be pretty tapered on the sides and then kind of the highest in the middle. So I'm just literally working on packing this on. Then if you have trouble getting near inner corner, just look the opposite direction and you can slide right in. So that's with about, I would say, one layer of the shadow. And there does seem to be a lot of kickback. Next, I'm going into B, which is this yellow eyeshadow. I cleaned my brush off, so I'm just going to go ahead and go in with the same one. Really going to pack the color on. And then with this, I'm going to put 50% on the lime green, 50% up here. So just kind of having that right in the middle. Ooh, that is super bright. Super powdery. You can just see how this yellow is just really transforming that lime green even brighter, but then it's a little bit weird because right above it, it looks darker. On a different M433, I'm just taking the shade Flashback, which is the white in the palette, and then I'm going to go ahead and blend these edges and pack this right onto the brow bone. I'm going in with this e.l.f. contour brush. It's just like a very rounded brush. And I'm going in with the dark green, which is called Daddy. And I'm just going to work on packing this along the very edge of my crease. I'm not going to blend it up too much with this. I'll blend it more together in just a minute once I get the color laid down. With all the colors in the last two rows of this palette, so all the bright, fun colors, I cannot stress enough that you want to pat and pack the colors on to build up your crease and to build up the opaqueness of the colors. You can kind of see here I'm being a little bit careless with my packing, so you saw it getting a little bit patchy on the outer corner. That's because you really can't blend these colors in together. You just kind of have to build them up and layer it. So I wasn't exactly happy with how this was blending, so I'm just going back and forth between the dark green Daddy and the lighter green Social Blade, and I'm trying to really pack them on carefully so I can get a flawless blend without having to overblend the shadows. And here I am wondering why this is so difficult to work with. It's just a little bit tricky. You have to get used to it and figure it out. And once you do, you kind of know what to expect from the shadows and how long it's going to take you to create looks. I'm not going to lie, this look took me a lot longer than I wish it did. And that is just because there's such a learning curve with this palette. All right, to add more depth, I'm so nervous to do this because I don't want to mess it up because I feel like I'm starting to get somewhere with this, but I'm taking the color Escape, which is this dark purple in the palette, and I'm going to be placing that on my crease, but even lower down. So actually barely in the crease at all. I'm mostly going to be hugging this right on the border of my lid. And with this, I'm really going to work it in and pack it on. I didn't know this at the time of filming because this is, I think, my second time going in with Escape. The first time was the pink and purple look that I put out yesterday. But I learned from this look how finicky the shadow is. So sitting here editing the footage, I can explain to you a little bit more. You truly have to pack. Here I'm kind of dabbing, and even that is just like, you can see the patchiness, you can see where there's some gaps. This shade, it's truly hard to work with because it is so vibrant and so pigmented. You really need to take your time, you really need to pack it on. You can see here I was being a little bit careless and just dotting it on. I got some up in the crease with the yellow, I was getting fallout, and I'm continuously eating because I'm starting to get frustrated with my makeup. So please just know, if you have this palette, the purple shades, the green shades, like I said, the last two rows, basically there's a real learning curve, and once you use them a few times, you'll be able to figure them out. So just know that you're not alone. Do not swipe like I'm doing now. You truly have to dot and pack it onto your lid. When I'm going back and forth and blending, I picked up the slightest bit of Social Blade, hardly any product at all. I'm mostly using what was left on my brush to my advantage, and as I'm dipping back in, I'm taking a little bit at a time because I really am struggling to blend. Here you can just see how it's turning very muddy and very patchy, and I'm getting very frustrated. I love these colors, but I just wish they weren't like this. I'm kind of confused as to why they're this difficult. I get that the more vibrant the shadow, the more difficult it is to work with, but I have yet to come across an eyeshadow that has been this difficult to blend, this difficult to work with, this difficult to not look like a muddy mess. So that is just my word of caution with some of the colors in this palette. It's very hard to correct any mistakes that you may make, and it's very hard to get a very smooth blended look. Okay, this is where we're at. These kind of looks, you have to be patient because they're gonna look a hot mess till they're done. So I'm not gonna mess with this too much more. I don't want to mess with this too much more, so what I'm gonna do is take a makeup wipe and just oh so carefully try to clean off the lid without going too far into the crease. And I'm cleaning this off with a makeup wipe because when I go in with the concealer can easily blend in and pick up the colors. So I want to try to avoid that by having as clean of a lid as possible. So just like that, pretty much. Doesn't have to be exact. If you don't want to waste an entire makeup wipe, because like I said, I started doing something and wiped it off, so I already had this one going. Just take some micellar water or something on a Q-tip and use that. The only time, by the way, I got fallout so far in this palette was when I was packing on the purple shade, and I think that just has a lot to do with this brush because it's very stiff. Any eyeshadow, really, I would get fallout if I was packing it on that heavily. Now I'm going to do a light cut crease, so I'm taking a concealer brush and my Tarte Shape Tape, carve it out, BRB. A quick tip to help marry your concealer base into the eyeshadows is to just pat out the edge with your finger. I have no idea what to do whatsoever on my lid. Part of me just wants to keep it white. What do I want to do? I don't know. I wish there was like a really, no I don't. I wouldn't want to put green there. What do I want to put there? I'm really drawn to this blue, but that would not go with this moment. I think I'm just gonna pack the matte white flashback on. See what happens. See how the matte white packs on top of the concealer. Because if you're not familiar, I don't know the order of the videos I'm putting up, but I did a comparison. I did one eye with the Morphe primer, one eye with concealer, and the concealer side as a base didn't go so well. So interested to see if I'm gonna have issues. Hopefully I won't. With the matte shades, I should correct myself and say the matte shades did not mesh great with the concealer base, but this white seems to have no problem going right on. I love that there's such a matte white in here. Thank you, James. Nobody ever puts a matte, really like bright matte white in their palettes or even a cream shade. So I am just like so ecstatic that there's actually one in this palette. So to finish the eyes up, I'm actually happy with how this is coming out. It just took a minute to get there. So to finish up the eyes, I think I'm gonna go in with Playground, Cola, and Social Blade. So take a combination of this, this, and this. Cola is the darker one. This is Playground and Social Blade. So what I'm going to do first, where's my brush? Pick up Cola, which is a dark blue, on a Morphe M432, and I'm just going to use this to pack on my lower lash line. Maybe I should be using the purple. I may switch over to the purple that we used on the lid. If this isn't giving me, actually that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to layer the purple on top of the blue.
Here is a struggle bus moment where you don't pre-plan your looks, you just kind of pick a color and go with it. I should have just stuck to the purples and greens. I shouldn't have delved into the blues. So just bear with me in this hot mess of a moment that is my lower lash line. I will be getting it together in just a minute.
Now I'm going to go into Playground, which is that brighter blue, and I'm going to try it to smoke this out. We're going to see how it goes. We're going to do a little at a time, make sure we like it before we fully commit.
At least here you're getting to see some of the blue colors, the brighter colors, because I haven't really gone into them in other videos. So at least we get to see the pigment on them, but this is all about to be covered up.
We're just going to have to see how the green layers on top of that, because I don't, this is pretty, but I don't like the brightness of the blue because I feel like it's contrasting with this darkness that we have there, because that's kind of, I knew I should have brought green down and not gone into the blues. All right, so now I'm going to go back and forth between Daddy and Social Blade to kind of cover that up. Daddy I'm going to keep closer to the lower lash line, and Social Blade I'm going to use to blend out the edges. May throw some of the yellow, the bee color on there. Well, we shall see. We'll see where this goes. This is a journey. We're in this together.
Here is Daddy packed on top and buffing it out with Social Blade.
Now I'm going back into the purple to deepen things up again.
I'm holding my brush almost vertically because I really want that dark purple as close to my lash line as possible, but I also want the ends and the edges to be slightly smoked out, and that's a good way to achieve that. This is definitely more the vibe I was going for.
Now my question is, do I want to add highlight to this, or do I want to keep it matte? I'd be using the palette, but I'm cheating. I'm going to take my Ofra highlight in Glazed Donut on the E36, clean that sucker off. I'm going to take the littlest bit in my inner corner, and then we'll go from there to see if I want to put it on the brow bone or not. I guess I will take a little bit on my brow bone, just a little. So just added that little hint of a pop. I'm gonna do that to other eye, add mascara, finish, and be back to finish up the look. But I just wanted to share my thoughts on doing this look. Unfortunately for me, it took me a lot longer to achieve this than I feel like it normally would. I feel like normally a look like this would take me somewhere like 30 minutes, and I felt like I was sitting here doing my eyeshadow, just the top half of my eyes, for an hour because I was trying to really get the shadows to blend and to work well, and while I was able to achieve that, it just took a little bit more time. So these shadows can be a little trickier to work with if you're not used to it. Just try to have patience and just know that you need to pack on and build up the color, because when I first, if you watch the tutorial, you can see first layer, it went on a little bit patchy, and sometimes that happens because pigment in bright colors are hard to formulate. So you just really have to have the patience to be able to sit there and really pack the shadow on to get a good look. To finish up on my lips, I took my NYX lip liner in the shade Nude Suede Shoes. Perfect. I highly, highly, highly recommend if you are on the pale side and you like a more pinky nude. And then to add a little bit more weirdness to the look, I took the Most Gloss by Dose of Colors. You can kind of see on camera that it has like different shifts to it, but it does have a red reflect in here. Along with it on camera in my monitor, it's looking more on the greenish iridescent side, but it does have that red reflex, so it looks really cool, super close up in person. And that is going to wrap it up for the tutorial today using the Morphe and James palette, or James Charles palette. I hope you found this helpful if you're wanting to incorporate and play with color. Of course, this isn't like an everyday kind of look, but for me, it kind of is because I'm about to go out and about and do some errands. So depends on the person. Hopefully this encourages you to play with color a little bit more. If you would like to check out my other channel, I have a channel called Crystal Corner that I recently launched, where I talk about more holistic healing, self-care, meditation, crystals, of course. So if you're interested in that, I will have it linked down below. And also check out my other videos and tutorials so you can catch up. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel so you can come back and see more from me. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time. Bye, everyone.